You set your alarm for 7 in the morning, crawl into bed at a reasonable hour, and meticulously curate your environment for the perfect night of rest. You do everything right. Yet, when that alarm finally pierces the silence, you aren't greeted by a sense of renewal. Instead, you are met with a heavy, leaden exhaustion that seems to seep into your very bones. You are not alone in this. Recent data suggests that nearly 1 in 3 adults regularly struggles with this persistent, unexplained fatigue, a phenomenon that leaves even the most disciplined individuals feeling defeated before their day has truly begun. Before we delve into the biological mechanisms behind this cycle, it is important to state that this content is for informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for personal health concerns, especially if your fatigue is chronic or accompanied by other symptoms. The core of the issue is a frustrating paradox. Why does the body, a biological machine designed to recover during sleep, fail to recharge despite sufficient time in bed? We have been conditioned to believe that sleep duration is the ultimate metric of health, yet medical professionals increasingly recognize that time spent unconscious is not the same as time spent recovering. When your internal systems are deprived of these specific, non-negotiable stages, you wake up in a state of physiological debt. Even if you aren't waking up fully, your brain may be struggling to navigate the complex transitions between light and deep slumber, effectively rendering your 8 hours of rest a shallow, incomplete experience. This isn't just about being groggy, it's about a disconnect between your daily habits and the fundamental requirements of your biology. If you are tired of waking up feeling as if you've run a marathon in your sleep, it is time to look beyond the surface of your bedtime routine. To understand why your body is failing to find that elusive state of restoration, we must first examine the hidden disruptors that are sabotaging your recovery from within. Let's pull back the curtain on the unseen factors dictating your energy levels. The distinction between feeling sleepy and suffering from clinical fatigue is a chasm that most people fail to bridge. Simple sleepiness is a transient state, a brief signal from your biological clock that demands a quick, restorative nap to reset your focus. In contrast, clinical fatigue is a persistent, heavy anchor that drags behind you regardless of how many hours you clock under the covers. Research suggests that when you wake up feeling as if you never closed your eyes, you are likely missing the structural integrity of your sleep architecture. Think of your night as a choreographed performance consisting of 4 distinct stages, cycling through roughly every 90 minutes. You start in light, drifting transitions before plunging into the essential landscape of deep, slow-wave sleep. This is the physiological sanctuary where your brain flushes out metabolic waste and your tissues undergo vital repair. Studies indicate that if your internal rhythm is fractured, you may be spending your night trapped in the shallows of stage 1 and 2, never reaching the profound depths required for true physical restoration. Even if you remain unconscious for 8 hours, a fragmented cycle means you are essentially running a marathon in your sleep, expending energy rather than harvesting it. You might be experiencing microarousals, tiny, invisible interruptions that pull you out of restorative states without you ever becoming fully awake. These gaps prevent your brain from completing the complex neurochemical maintenance required for optimal wakefulness. It is akin to trying to charge a phone with a frayed cable. The connection is intermittent, and the battery remains perpetually drained. When your circadian rhythm falls out of sync with your sleep stages, the resulting exhaustion isn't a lack of rest, but a failure of the recovery process itself. Your body is working overtime to compensate for these structural voids, leaving your system in a state of chronic, low-grade stress. But what if the culprit isn't just the architecture of your sleep, but something far more invasive, lurking in the very air you breathe while you dream? The silence of your bedroom hides a physiological battlefield where the air itself becomes an obstacle to your restoration. Often, the primary saboteur is obstructive sleep apnea, a condition where the soft tissues in your throat collapse, effectively choking off your oxygen supply dozens of times every hour. This constant, fragmented arousal prevents you from ever descending into the deep, restorative stages of REM sleep, meaning you awaken physically depleted despite hours spent in bed. Moving beyond the mechanics of breathing, we must investigate the internal chemistry that governs your energy production. Research suggests that even subclinical hypothyroidism can leave you feeling as though you are moving through molasses, with every cognitive task requiring an immense, taxing effort. This hormonal imbalance acts like a dimming switch on your cellular vitality, ensuring that no amount of shut-eye can compensate for a system that lacks the internal signal to ignite. Nutritional deficiencies often masquerade as simple fatigue, creating a hollow sensation that caffeine can no longer mask. You might be eating enough calories, yet your body remains malnourished at a microscopic level, lacking the essential vitamins like B12 or D that serve as the catalysts for energy synthesis. When these building blocks are missing, your metabolic machinery simply grinds to a halt, regardless of how long you lie in repose. We exist in a state of perpetual hyperarousal, where the sympathetic nervous system is constantly primed for a fight that never arrives. This chronic activation of the stress response keeps cortisol levels elevated long after the sun has set, preventing the natural transition into the restorative parasympathetic state. You are essentially trying to charge a battery while simultaneously running a high-intensity program that drains it faster than the power can flow in. Your cells are screaming for equilibrium, yet the modern environment offers only further disruption. When your body is forced to prioritize survival over repair, the quality of your waking life begins to erode, turning every hour into a struggle for basic focus. As we begin to peel back these layers of internal dysfunction, one question remains: what if the solution isn't found in your bed, but in the precision of what you put into your body? The wreckage of chronic exhaustion isn't always found in the heavy eyelids of a nap, it manifests in the quiet, persistent fractures of your daily reality. Consider the haze that settles over your morning, that persistent, thick-walled brain fog that turns simple decision-making into an uphill climb. It is the feeling of reading a sentence 3 times without grasping the meaning, or searching for a common word that seems to have vanished from your vocabulary entirely. Then there is the irritability, a sharp, jagged edge to your mood that flares at the smallest provocation. When your metabolic resources are diverted toward merely keeping your systems online, your emotional regulation is the first casualty. You are living in a state of sensory overload, where the world feels too loud, too bright, and too demanding, because your internal battery is perpetually running on fumes. You might experience a lingering, leaden weakness in your limbs, a subtle tremor in your hands, or a heart rate that feels disconnected from your actual level of exertion. It is a profound, marrow-deep fatigue that no amount of caffeine can mask and no pillow can resolve. If you are currently navigating this landscape, know that your experience is not a failure of character, but a physiological prompt. True vitality is not a byproduct of sleep alone, it is the result of aligning your nutritional intake with the specific, intricate demands of your biology. When you stop fighting your own chemistry and start fueling it with precision, the fog begins to lift, the irritability softens, and the world returns to focus. Please consult a doctor for health concerns. I hope this perspective serves as the turning point you've been looking for. If you found value in this breakdown, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the hidden mechanics of human health. Let's talk about it in the comments below.